my apologies on the previous show with the UUC Brake Line install. For some reason I had Mustangs and BMWs confused. So I had two extra lines where I thought one was for the clutch slave cylinder and one was for an extra brake line in the back. Turns out they're both for extra brake line, the rear brakes. Rear brakes actually have four. They have one that comes off the main line, kind of dips down underneath the control arm, and then has a small section of hard line, and then from there, this final line goes in from there to the caliper. So we'll be installing these last two final lines. So that will complete the UUC brake line upgrade. After that, we will be continuing on. I'll probably play with I remove the side skirt. Just give you guys a quick view of that, a little recap. So kind of stripped everything off the car after we got it up in the air and supported on jack stands. See some of the trim, mirrors, and the spoiler are off. Finally managed to peel off the side skirt that had some issues, and there was some rust down along the rocker here, right on that lip. Kind of looks a little worse on camera. That's a mixture of old red paint, kind of grounded down into from the original color of the car, mixed in with some globs of urethane that we're holding on the side skirt, and most of the rust is ground off now. It'll just be a matter of really grinding in there, some wire brush, wire wheel to try and get that out. So for now, try and drag this over and I'll show you guys what I mean by these brake lines. So right there you can see the first brake line that's been replaced. That goes from the main hard line here, that comes up down to that one. Here's the other hard line, and behind there, believe it or not, lies the final flex line, which is right there. It goes in the brake caliper, peeks down underneath the strut area, and attaches. Can't really see that because I'm blocking the light, but it attaches right there, that fastener. So I'm just going to be taking those off, replacing them quickly. I put the camera down here, probably not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but shouldn't be a very long procedure. Try and drag some stuff over, support the camera up a bit better. Can you see that or not? I'm not sure. Try and get myself some better light. Just leave my wrench. This is definitely what's nice about if you have hoist. You don't need to be playing around on the ground as much. For some reason struggling with this wrench. Repeatedly. Must be rounded off or something from using a normal wrench instead of a line wrench. I was loosening it off. Interesting design on BMW's part to have two separate flex lines in the back. Make sure this top one's loose. Apparently it's threaded in there more than I thought. I'm tripping on me. Finish twisting this old one out. Oh, there's a mosquito in here in the middle of winter. I have no idea. troubles getting the hind wrench on. Let's get a normal 14 mil. Tighten that up. Alright. That's one side. One side completely done in the back. If you wanted to see the earlier parts, they are on the Ustream webpage. Labeled January 2nd, part 1 and 2. You want to give those a watch. Just go over to the other side here. I don't know if that's an alright camera angle or not. I apologize if it sucks. It's that being underneath the car is in the position that I'm at. It's hard to play with the camera as well. I won't lie, before I started streaming I sprayed some liquid wrench on these guys just to make sure they were nice and loose. I didn't want people watching me or having to worry about the camera too much while I was underneath the car. This definitely isn't the most comfortable position in the world. Alright, let's crack this top one loose. So, old brake line out. The new brake line in. safety glasses on right now, I swear. Alright, nice and tight. Wipe up our brake fluid. Slide out from underneath the car here. Alright. Don't mind the camera angle, just throwing it back up on the tripod. So here's the last two final lines. Put them back here in the bag. It's all 6 lines complete. Changed over. Probably what? An hour in total I spent on that. So, like I said before, if you're gonna go to a shop, get your brake lines changed, unless you got something really rusted, they're gonna charge you more than $100 to do it. I'd say they're ripping you off. Alright, probably just gonna play with a bit of this rocker panel some more. It's gonna be off. Here's my safety glasses I was telling you about earlier. Sit on the creeper because it's nice and low. See what we can do here. So it looks like it's cleaning up most of the little rust bits in there. So basically what I'm doing is just running the wire wheel along there until I don't see any more rust. Find that grinder again. Just a couple small spots I wanted to hit with the grinder. interesting stuff. Also had this I wanted to try out. There's the grinder underneath. You guys probably can't hear my music. I got Peterborough's almost one and only radio station. Got some old Move Your Body by Technotronic. Pretty good jam. If you're feeling groovy, fire up your LimeWire, Crosswire, whatever it is you got. Give her a download. This Mastercraft drill is my dad's. He bought me one for Christmas a couple years back, and I was drilling out 1/4 inch thick steel on the back of my differential on my Mustang to mount Dutch grabbers for any of you Mustang guys. And I burnt out the drill, poof, big puff of smoke in the, I think in my second hole, so I went and got a DeWalt. No, they're expensive, but the gun's actually smaller, and I haven't blown it up, and I'm hard on tools, so. Not that DeWalt's sponsoring me, but just if anybody's out there wanting to spend the money, I'd spend it on yellow. This does an excellent job. This is, I couldn't even tell you what that's made out of. But it does a really good job at grinding and getting in the grooves and getting out the rust. I'll be sure to show you guys that in a second. Just because I want to get that lip there. I don't mind the odd nick on the door since we are painting the car anyways, but might as well just keep damages down to a minimal. So it doesn't spill any little nooks and grooves that I might create from slipping or hitting things with grinders and that abrasive wheel. So I'll just throw a bit of masking tape on there to prevent scratches. Since I'm throwing up a lot of dust here, since I'm all about safety, 3M sanding respirator. You get 2 in a pack, like $6.29, something like that. You can buy those really cheap ones, but they don't catch the dust very well. So unless you want to be blowing out rust particles and dust and all that stuff out of your nose for a couple days, I'd highly suggest getting a couple of these. You'll be happy you got them, and then you can carry on and breathe away. going one way with it, so you're going this way, then I'll go that way just because it's spinning in the different directions. So if it was all that way, it'll kind of dig in more. Open up the door and get the little bit that goes over the lip. So let's get the camera. I'll show you guys what I've done here. Alright. So you can kind of see here. You see all the little rust pits and grooves and crannies, so you want to get rid of all those. If I had a sandblaster that was easily accessible right now, I'd probably sandblast this, but because it's underneath the skirt, I can grind most of it out and just make sure there's no rust in there. And that way I can just spray some good undercoating and mount the skirt back on. And hopefully we don't have to worry about rust coming back again. definitely not the cleanest job in the world. I'm just going to put the wire wheel back on because I think I can get in the grooves a little easier.
truly like cancer, once it starts, it just keeps going everywhere and you keep finding it. But provided you find it early enough, you can cure your car of cancer with some good old chemotherapy. I'm just going to go over quickly and strip down some of this older gunk and just make sure everything else is clean under there. Looks like I'll be using the grinder because it's pretty thick. So, everything looks good other than the rust that was up top, which is nice. You see, Andrew, you're tuned in. Since you're just getting here, the ACS side skirt was a challenge to get off. Full urethane, and yeah, we'll go over that here shortly. I just take this abrasive wheel over some of the area again. Try and get it as cleaned up as possible. And I'll probably put some fiberglass, short strand fiberglass over this edge to fill up a little bit the divots and pits. And once that's done, once I get this lip where I like it, finish it up with a bit of filler, and then we'll undercoat this whole piece. And then we can look at putting the skirt back on. Abrasive wheel back on my dad's drill and put it back where I found it. Hopefully he doesn't notice I used it. Anybody getting bored of body work yet. I am. For the summer outside, I could go do big burnouts in the M3. Alright. If you see any little brown or red rust color in any of those little pit holes, you gotta get it out of there. And if you can't get it out, grind it down a little further if you have to. And just, yeah, make sure, otherwise it will come back. Looking pretty good. Palm sander's got a little bit of dust in it from the M3. Scared to pop this thing open for the dust to go just flying everywhere. As silly as that thing may seem, it does actually collect quite a bit of dust. Better than having to sweep it up or breathe it in or having to deal with it. Nice feature to have. that keeps falling off. So I found a couple other few little tiny rust spots. Just want to touch up real quick. One second, phone's ringing. Yo. Come on. Sorry, had to take a phone call. I'm back. Alright. My glasses are fogged right up. Well, it's looking pretty good. switch the air hose over. So whenever you're doing body work, I suggest always blowing out areas that you work on, because if you use a rag or your shirt or your arm, dust will collect in the pits and you won't see them. You know, it'll just be in there, you'll think everything's good, and that pit could be potential for later rust or anything else. Moisture can just get in there and create rust on its own after. All might look ugly, but the rust is out. And in case it's not, you just spray a little bit of rust converter on there. What it does, it just grabs rust and converts it. I forget how this stuff actually works. Formula leaves a protective coating that inhibits further rust information and prepares surface for paint. So obviously we're not going to paint on top of this, I just want to spray some. In case anything was missed. So it can convert it or do whatever it wants to do. And so I'll let that dry. This lamp, amazingly enough, sheds enough heat. It'll probably help speed up the process. And I'll put some fiberglass short strand on top there, try and get the ridges out. Fill in the pits nice. For anyone who's just tuning in, here's the side skirt. It's not very straight anymore. They had strongly urethaned it on. You can see all this big line of rubbery gunk. This is the urethane they use, probably about half a tube here. I'm very impressed with AC Schnitzer material. As you can see, the side skirt is very bulky, very large. In this area it is not so bulky due to the fire. Fuel was leaking underneath the car when the car burst into flames. And actually, I guess you probably can't really see that. See it now? And the flames are coming up and melted the side skirt. I had put some filler on there before to just try and even it out before I left so it didn't look so ugly. Just a quick 30-minute job. Needless to say, when I peeled the side skirt off, it was cracking, so I just peeled it right off. So a chore will be trying to get this skirt straight again, which probably isn't going to be easy, but hopefully I can
get it done. There seems to be strips of metal on the inside which help shape it, so we'll see what we can do. I'm just going to sweep up the floor here a bit. Anybody has any questions, again, add me at MSN, the infamous project at gmail.com. Fire me a message, fire me a comment, say you suck, whatever you want to do. Need to find my broom. Sorry about that, it's probably pretty loud, the mic just hit the ground. Alright. Lose the mask for a bit. Andrew. Take a couple pictures. Alright. Don't mind me if you see me over here, I'm just looking at the computer. People sending me messages, responding. So that's drying. So we can see what we can do about this. Kinda don't really know where to start. Figure probably some blocks of wood, some hammering. While even stepping on it. Alright, rubber mallet. Probably be nice nice to cut some of that old urethane out of there. See if I can find a utility knife that actually has a blade in it. No utility knife, but I found a razor blade. And that'll be a fun project for someone. Not me, I definitely don't want to do that. Zach from Wheels to Wheels Detailing, thank you very much. Just message him, maybe he'll want to come out and give me a free detail once it's done. So, I think you can see this. I'm going to aim that down a bit more. So obviously the skirt's got some bends in it now. Some of it from the fire, the flame warped the skirt. Some of it's from me yanking on it, trying to get it off. But yeah, it doesn't fit as nicely as it once did. So I'll try and get it straight again. Nobody said this was going to be a fast process. Probably be trying a couple things until I get it right. Take my ring off. Reminds me of trying to straighten out a paper clip just perfect. You try and bend it out to get all that, get it nice and straight. Almost reminds me of that, just this is worse. got to the part where I need to fix the skirt yet, where that melted part is. Apparently standing on it seems to be a good technique. I think AC Schnitzer would endorse this. Oh, what's going on here? Hey, Andrew, did you leave me that epoxy? Or did you take that with you? I asked because the epoxy, he has a two-part epoxy, is meant for urethane materials and can help me build this back out. It's kind of like your 5-minute quick epoxy that you use to fix your plastic pieces you break, but instead it's a car application. Stainable, paintable, flexible, all that good stuff. So providing I can get this fairly straight, I'll probably urethane it back to the car. I'll heat the skirt up to shape it some, and I'll put in some screws, let the urethane set up. Once the urethane's cured and the skirt is back on, then I can take the screws out, fill them, and yeah, hopefully get the skirt mounted. Andrew just informed me he didn't leave me his epoxy here, so Andrew, you suck. All I can say is thank God I don't have to take off the driver's side. So instead of working with an AC Schnitzer piece, this is like working with a eBay body kit that you would receive, because it right now is how good as it would line up. So it's not horrible. I definitely do need to cut all this old urethane out. Just going to be a pain. Not sure how the grinder performs against urethane. Guess I'll find out in a second. So I can grind it out. Be a lot quicker. Those would be some fumes I wouldn't want to inhale. What do I got here I can cut that out with? A hacksaw blade, perhaps? Actually works surprisingly well. Just like that. Alright, let's see if I can find a hacksaw in one piece to make that a little easier. Don't laugh. I don't have a hacksaw, but I found this little saw. I think it's from a children's carpenter kit. So we'll see if I can do anything. I need a chair. Well, don't knock it till you've tried it, because it's working. It's going to take a few minutes, but it's working.
tired already. What happened there? Whew. Too bad this wasn't an M3 side skirt. I could have just bought a new one. Should make blades for cutting rubber. Bear with me, guys. I know this is boring. Feel free to go get a beer, go to the bathroom, get something to eat. Get me something to eat. Drive to Peterborough, bring me some food. You know, it'd be a nice idea if I had a chat feature on my site, probably. So anybody who's on there could chat amongst yourselves and update other people what's going on while at work. In case some people are late and like, hey, what's he doing? Someone just tuned in right now, they'd probably be like, why is he using a little child saw on a side skirt? At least somebody would be able to fill that person in. Alright, well, as you guys can see, here's the glumps of urethane, and there's the nice job the saw is doing at cutting it all out. So, I don't think they had to put this much urethane on to attach the skirt originally, but I guess they just didn't want it coming off or anyone else taking it off. There's gotta be an easier way. bucking it out with the grinder. That piece came off nicely. Alright. Standing up seems to be the way to go. Okay, I started actually going into the skirt itself. Whew. Alright, let's see how our rust converter seems to be all dry. Alright, I have to say it's definitely getting a little warm. So in case anyone was wondering, the shop has heated floors, which is nice. And the floors are actually capable of heating the whole shop, sitting at 66 degrees right now. So yeah, it definitely keeps it nice for working conditions. I'm gonna take a break from that skirt. I'm gonna mix up a bit of fiberglass, get that spread on there. Alright, custom mixing board. It's a 1 gallon tub of short strand fiberglass. I like to use fiberglass on anything that's going to be getting filled more than a skim coat would need. It's just stronger, holds together better, less likely to crack. I don't know if it's what you're supposed to do, just what I personally like to do. It's obviously a little harder to sand down, but you know, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing a cheap fast patch job on the rear quarters of your Honda Civic,
Fiberglass definitely the way to go, because even if the rust goes through, the fiberglass will probably still hold the car together, and it's harder for the roof to penetrate out. So you just put some glass out, kind of the same mixing strategy as Bondo. A little bit of hardener. I use metal spreaders over the plastic. The whole pack is $4.90 something. These, if you know, you accidentally leave some excess material on that hardens, you can use your sander and sand it off and reuse it. That, and I find they just spread better, spread more even. You kind of got to get used to them at first, but for the extra dollar or two they are over the conventional plastic. Once you use one, you probably won't use a plastic one again. So obviously you want to try and mix this as thoroughly as possible. Almost do like a figure 8 pattern, gets it mixed around really good. And then you can apply it. I'm definitely not the best at body work. No professional, never took classes for it. Just kind of got sick of paying for paint jobs. No offense to the guy who used to do my paint jobs, great guy. I learned a lot from him. And he's done tons of Fox body Mustangs back in the day. That's how I found him, and finally I said, hey, I want to start doing my own work, so he was kind enough to kind of show me how to do some stuff. And I just took the stuff that he taught me and applied as much of it as I could. Just kind of keep spreading.
most of it will end up getting sanded off. You do want to make sure that you press fairly firmly, so you don't want any of those pit holes filled. So it's starting to get stickier now. It's right at the perfect time to try and get the shape and the spread you want. Alright. Try and clean off your board as good as possible. Not that this board is anything fancy. It's lid to a cardboard box. See if there's any dents or anything that can fill in. I made a bit of a mess here and there trying to pry that skirt off. There we go. Alright. So we got that spread on there. Let that dry up some. Already got my 80 grit sandpaper ready to start sanding some of that out after. I'm going to start assessing the side skirt again, trying to... It's the fun part about bodywork and working on cars, you get to hop from one thing to the other. the side skirt. Well, yeah, it's urethane. There's a nice big huge metal strip down the inside. I got bent to hell when I had to rip the skirt off. This lovely spot here is from the fire. It melted a good portion of the skirt. It was a lot worse for anyone who's just starting to watch now. It was much worse. So we'll just keep playing with it until we get some sort of shape back.
got most of the bend out. The bend issue now is actually where the skirt got melted. Alright, good. Getting there. It's mostly an optical illusion because it's missing a bunch of material there, and this is, well, that's just bent. Well, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Be close enough to get back on there and play with the heat gun. And get it nice and straight again. All in all, not too bad. Fiberglass is just at its ooey gooey stage. So any globs or highly noticeable areas, I'll just carve out with an X-Acto knife real quick. This cut down makes sanding a little easier. Alright, we'll just let that finish setting up. You just want to see me back here, I'm just going to take off the two-way tape that was holding on the 325IS badge off the trunk. Just rubbing the razor blade down along it. Try not to dig into the paint. It's important to make sure you get all the glue off, because I've seen some half-assed paint jobs where people debadged the car and didn't put the badges back on, but the paint managed to actually grab through to where the badge, or where the glue was. You could actually see the outline of the badge marks. Alright. Alright, where are my safety shoes? I don't have any, actually. Usually I wear them. I have a nice pair of $30 steel toes from Target in Florida. But today I was lazy. They were hurting my feet from wearing them so much, so I'm not playing with heavy objects today, so safety shoes aren't needed. I'm not speaking loud enough. Microphone sucks. Actually, I'll show anyone who cares this. It's quite funny. Overkill from GTAMC was kind enough to help me out in a time of need. The special cable that I needed for my camera didn't come in on time. It was supposed to be delivered on Wednesday. Canada Post expedited from Toronto. It was shipped out Tuesday morning. It's supposed to be here Wednesday. Peterborough, not far. Said delivery for Wednesday, didn't show up. Said it didn't arrive in Mississauga in time to the main postal facility, and it was supposed to be here Thursday. And well, it never showed up Thursday. Go Canada Post expedited. If the guy had to just put it in regular post, I bet you I would have got it. Long story short, overkill was the man who provided this Video capture card, as you can see here, sticking outside of the computer. I managed to cut a nice slot in the top to make it fit. So it's actually using S-Video in, and of course with S-Video I didn't have a mic working off the camera, so I just have a cheap like 30-cent mic hooked up, and it's just dangling. Once my cable comes in, hopefully on Monday, go Canada Post, I'll be able to have the mic off the camera working, which is a million times better than this little Kenseco thing hanging from the top of this truck. Someone says, buy a new skirt. Whoever said that, go on to eBay.com, but if you want to make it real interesting, go on ebay.de, I think for Denmark or whatever, so pull up all the European stuff. Type in AC Schnitzer and look at the prices. So long story short, I could probably put 5 hours of labor into that skirt, and it'll be cheaper than the time that I get a new one and get it all fixed up, etc. So, like I said, if it was an M3 package, yeah, I just would have got a new M3 side skirt and called it a day. The AC Schnitzer stuff is ridiculous. The mirrors alone are about 600 bucks, so that is why I still do not have a set yet. That and the rep set I was supposed to get, the guy ripped me off. So yeah, even me who does as many deals on the internet still gets ripped off. What else? I think that's it for questions from the Mustang guys. Beamer guys, if you have any questions. Not looking like it at the moment. Alright, well, if anybody else who's watching wants to ask a question, feel free to add me at MSN, theinfamousproject@gmail.com. Shoot me a message. I keep checking it regularly. I'll answer anything, or shoot me a comment, whatever you want to do. Yes, Mike, I hear you. Can't hear shit, get a mic, blah blah blah. I just explained that whole thing. Were you not there? Still can't hear shit. Alright, hold on. Turn your volume up louder. Oh, you bastard. Anyways, see, people are fucking with me. Anyways, oops. Sorry, non-censored. Alright, I'm just gonna get another drink. Hopefully by then this fiberglass is set up. I'll start sanding some of that down. And we'll go from there, try and get a little more work done. Wheels to Wheels Detailing says that he can hear me fine. I'm going to get a chat set up so that all you guys can bicker amongst each other on my website. Thanks for the confirmation on the audio. Yes, they do need to turn up their volume. Alright guys, give me 2 minutes, just gonna run in the house, get something else to drink. You guys can stay here, watch some fiberglass dry. I'll be back. Out in the freezing cold. can of 7-Up. Better hold the can away from the label, don't want to promote anybody. Whatever that restriction is that they always do on TV, you can still see what they're drinking or eating anyways. Alright, so our fiberglass looks like it's nice and hard. So you can already probably see the particles that I didn't breathe in by wearing this nice mask. It is hot. It's probably a little harder to hear me when I'm wearing it. But it's saving my lungs from dying at an early age. So I got some nice 80 grit left here from when I did the M3. Just throw it in something hard and then I can just go along and get this line sanded out nicely. And my phone's ringing. Hello? What's going on? Not working on the car. Yeah. Fixing the side skirt area. Yeah, what are you doing? Oh no, I'm on. Yeah, so there. Yeah, I multitask. Yeah. Oh shit, that sucks. Right. That does suck bag. Nice. Sweet. So what do you... I'm here. If you're out and about, come bring me a beer. I said, I'll be here, so if you're out and about, bring me a beer. Alright. Okay, cool. Alright. Well, that was my buddy on the phone. He has a shitty situation. I guess his pump for the poo went tonight, so he just finished pumping up some shit. Which kind of sucks, but it's got it all under control now. He might stop by and bring me a beer, which would be nice.
you guys ever do work with fiberglass, do wear a mask. That stuff is potent. Alright, get a block. Mike, if you're still watching, other people say they can hear me completely fine, so you suck. Ugh. Maybe I'll use the bigger one. So for anyone that's wondering what I'm doing, I'm just sanding down some fiberglass on the rocker panel where the side skirt was attached. There was some rust that was bubbling up, so I had to grind a lot of it down, which made the metal a little uneven. So we're just straightening that back out. And getting it ready so we can undercoat this up all nice and mount the skirt back on. And this is probably the worst part of the whole car. The rest of the car is in very good shape. The next challenge will be stretching out the front fenders enough for how ridiculously low the car is. And yeah, if you didn't see the lowering job, tune in to January 2nd, part 1. I did a once over of the car when it was all on the ground still. Yesterday I didn't record because it was just testing purposes, but I actually buckled my front fender over here because I had it down too low. I got it mostly straightened out now. But, yeah, so that's what we're doing. Hey Mike, how are the Raptors doing, by the way? Alright, so we got a question about the truck from Harry. I'm assuming you mean this beast to the right of me. It was, the dad brought it up from Oklahoma. It's full of Oklahoma mud. It's got like 80,000 original miles on it, and it's just full of Oklahoma mud. It's not rust, it's mud. And it is everywhere, so he wants to get rid of the full-time four-wheel drive and do a bunch of stuff to it. I don't know what. He's got his own projects that he deals with, and yeah, hopefully he finishes one of them. Raptors lost. Sorry to hear that. Speaking of which, I wouldn't mind seeing the Raptors. I saw an Australian basketball game when I was down there, and not the same. Not at all. Yeah, Mike, he still has the vet. 58 Corvette he has. Had the thing forever. It's sitting in the house garage. Apparently it's like drivetrain's done, it's drivable, but still no body, no paint, no interior, no trim. It'll be sitting for a while yet. His 68 or 69 Ranchero he got is sitting in my garage at home, free up this bay. He's had that now for about 4 years, hasn't touched it, so providing this project goes good, I think I'm maybe going to do that car in the next one. Put a 5-liter fuel-injected motor in it, and maybe not lower it too much since he'd be driving it, but maybe finish it for him as a gift. Since he's been so kind over the years to let me invade his space when needed. So yeah. So I block sanded the important part down along this line here, trying to get it nice and straight and smooth. The lower stuff I don't really care about. I just tried to fill some of the dents in because I had this pry bar in there behind the skirt like this, trying to break through that urethane, and I kind of made a mess. But whatever, side skirt's gonna hide that anyways. I think it's time for a new piece of sandpaper. This is 80 grit cuts through the fiberglass fairly quickly, which is good, otherwise we'd be here all night. Alright, so and all that sanded down with 80 grit. I'll just go over the important parts a little bit more. So anything that we're going to see, it's important to make sure that it's perfect looking. watching tank dry for some of you at home. But hey, what else do you do on a cold ass Saturday night in Canada? Alright. Doesn't everyone hate body work already? Alright. Again, use air, not your hand or a rag or anything. That way it keeps the dust from hiding in pit holes. See what I mean about being able to reuse your spreader? Alright. Bondo time. Honda Civic's best friend. Just kidding. I should probably say 1980s Toyota pickup's best friend. I don't really need that much. I have a bad habit of mixing more product than I need. Blue hardener, red hardener, it's all the same. Depends what comes with the product you buy that day, I guess. Again, anyone who's not familiar with mixing Bondo, do it the same way as you do fiberglass. Just want to make sure that the color is nice and even. Actually, usually with this Bondo is like a green color, they usually give you red hardener. I think they did with this one, I just don't know where my red tube is. Just makes it a little easier to see if you got it mixed up properly. Alright, so I'm basically just going to do what I did before. But this time I'm just focusing on mostly this lip. This lip is what the skirt ultimately butts up against. So will you really see it? Probably no, not that much, but it's good to know that you did a good thorough job anyways. I probably should have used my little spreader for this, but I don't know where it is at the moment. Bondo, well, this stuff is lightweight, so it's pretty easy to sand, pretty easy to work with. Which is nice. excess stuff off.